How? 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 How is it that Ubisoft keeps getting worse and worse every single year? EA, I'm sorry if you were going for worst conference of the year there, because guess what? Ubisoft topped you. No, seriously, they did. They were worse. Ugh. I just hold on. Ugh, I need to get through this one, and then I'm gonna try to relax a little bit before Sony goes on in about, I think it's 3 hours from now. I'm not entirely sure, but Sony at least usually isn't bad. Isn't a bad conference. I'm hoping for the best for that. Let's get to Ubisoft. And they were bad right off the bat. They started with a small dance sequence to hype up Just Dance 2017. Look, I like Queen's Don't Stop Me Now, but I don't want to see a dance number like that during a freaking game conference. I want to see games. So they didn't even show anything from that game, which might have been a blessing in disguise. So then they moved on to Ghost Recon Wildlands, which was it looked pretty generic, pretty boring, honestly, not really interesting in the slightest. And it's more Tom Clancy all the time. This wasn't the only time he showed up either, but yeah, that looked boring. Then they had another generic trailer come up, which was actually just a ploy by more of a joke from South Park. So yes, they showed off a little bit more of South Park, The Fractured But Whole. So apparently they're switching the combat a little bit. I already knew they were going to switch over from Wizards and Warriors to superheroes, but they're also changing the combat. Instead of it being turn-based, it's now more... It more resembles... have any of you guys ever played the Mega Man Battle Network series, or seen the combat for Mega Man Battle Network? It kind of looks like that. I haven't played the game myself, but it looked like that, at the very least. So yeah, that it also seems it's a bit more interesting. You seem to have a little bit more options as to what kind of powers you want to have, instead of just 4 classes like in the previous game. So yeah, this could be interesting. I kind of just want to buy the game just because there's a point there where you can beat up a drunk Randy Marsh. Morris, I think. I don't. I'm not entirely sure what his last name is, but you know, Stan's father, Randy. I hate Randy a lot. So I would love to have a game where I can just beat the shit out of him. Then. You know, I mentioned that Tom Clancy showed up twice. He showed up another time here. Well, here we go. The Division. The Division again. I already talked about how I feel about that game at Microsoft thoughts, and I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. Then we have some showings of VR for a game where you play as birds, I think, or eagle. I'm not entirely sure what it was because I didn't really pay attention. I was more distracted by how the people who were playing the game look. That, I think it's an Oculus Rift, makes people playing the game look absolutely ridiculous. And then they showed off a Star Trek VR game. They brought LeVar Burton onto the stage and all that. Nothing really that interesting. You know that. Then we got to the one presentation I was actually a little bit impressed by. For Honor, because they brought back that developer with the very scraggly voice and a really awesome cane. He presented the game really well in my opinion, and the gameplay that they showed me looked pretty decent. My opinions on the game hasn't really changed. It looks interesting. I am considering it. It looked very interesting. Then they showed a game called Grow Up, which is essentially about raising a bird, I think. I don't actually remember too much about that game. It was there and then it was gone in the next minute. Not sure what else to say about it. Then they showed a game called Trials of the Blood Dragon, which was basically showing sort of a motorcycle sim, sort of a track. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's very much sort of a obstacles on a bicycle or a minecart in some instances. They had this weird trailer that sort of resembled an old school, 90s or 80s toy commercial, which, okay, it was really weird, and the way they presented it was also really weird, having two people come out dressed in zebra gear. And of course they had to talk about Assassin's Creed. They didn't have a game this year, but they talked about the movie. They spent a lot of time on the movie. It's a movie. I know it's based on the game, but it's still a movie. We're not here to talk about the movie, we're here to talk about the game. I know there isn't a game to talk about, but you could have just barely mentioned that the movie's coming out soon, so there you go. Quickly and move on to the next game, which was Watch Dogs 2. I don't care. From what I heard, Watch Dogs 1 was really disappointing and really generic. It wasn't anything special. And Watch Dogs 2 kind of looked the same, except for one instance where where I saw some goggles that displayed emojis. That was weird. That was the only thing that sticks out to me. Everything else was just... And finally, they revealed a game called Steep, which is essentially skiing or snowboarding or hang gliding down a mountain. Riveting. And that's it. Barely any games that were interesting. Presentation wise, it was pretty poor and very boring. I tuned out about 6 different times throughout this entire conference. I didn't pay attention all that much. It was really freaking boring. And I feel like they went on a bit longer than they should have to. I don't know how they managed it, but they were worse than EA. I'm dead serious. So yeah, as for rating, 1.5 out of 10. Really, just, it wasn't as horrible as last year's Square Enix, because they went on way too long. And they had so many problems and technical difficulties, and they spent way too long talking, That conference was just the worst. But this wasn't. This was close by, really. So yeah, 1.5, worst conference so far. Sony, please give us a good conference. So far, the conference has either been bad or just kind of, or just above average. I need a good one from you. Oh, and I almost forgot. I didn't really. I had the PC gaming show on, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I figured none of this is really going to matter to me because I'm not a PC gamer in any way. So I didn't really. I kind of changed my mind and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to focus too much on this. I'll take all my focus on Ubisoft instead. So instead I just prepared myself for Ubisoft and just didn't bother. So I have nothing to say about the PC gaming show, whether it was good or bad. So I don't really have anything to say about that. But Ubisoft was bad. It was really bad. So on Sony now. Please give us a good conference.